What up?
Why is your voice like that?
Hello!
So bizarre.
Let's get ready to... All right,
That's
what's going on
not
with
what
Jay
we
Powell?
want. All right, talk normally. I don't like that.
Jerome
Jerome,
in the
as much
streets.
as people were hoping for a soft landing, Jerome told the people that a soft landing is going to be very challenging and that a recession is certainly a possibility. What?
That was the market crashing and ending in a explosion. Soft landing is going to be challenging. Of course, we've been talking about this. It is so difficult to balance between high inflation coming down but not getting a recession. It's like a tightrope walk. Yeah, sure, maybe there's one or two people in the world who could do it, but for the most part, it is not possible. So ultimately, they have a choice. Either we live with high inflation or we live with a recession. If they are not careful, we could get both in a stagflation situation. Now, of course, Jay Powell, he's actually started to become much more transparent about what transpired over the last couple of months.
And that inflation wasn't transitory.
True. He now is saying it isn't transitory. Congratulations, we agree. He also is saying that inflation is not because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. He was recently asked about that and said, I do not believe that because inflation was already high before Russia invaded Ukraine. I wish our politicians would say the same. Last but not least, Jay Powell is now talking about the fact that if they are going to destroy demand, it likely will lead to some sort of recessionary type event. And so you have a choice: inflation, recession. Hope you don't get both. We're going to see what happens in the United States of America. I do not believe that inflation will come down. I don't think we'll see less than, I don't know, the Fed says less than 5% inflation by the end of the year. That's kind of crazy. And also, I think that we are headed into a recession or some sort of deep bear market. And so, unless they pivot, unless they reverse course, prepare yourselves, my friends.
We're going into the bear cave. Wait, okay, I have a question. Like a bear market.
Cave? Yeah. Oh,
You
like
said
the bears.
deep in the bear
Yeah, but
market.
bears go into hibernation. Bulls don't.
Okay. So my question is, do you remember when you said that, like, as they were pumping money into the economy, it wasn't sustainable, but they would have to keep doing it because they had no other choice. So, but they're not.
They had another choice.
But you said they would keep doing it, but now they're not.
So if you go back to March of 2020, there was a liquidity crisis. That was the first choice they had. They said, everyone go home. Government said that, not the central bank, government. Central bank looks at the board, right? They're playing the game, they're looking at the board. Asset prices are all falling, people are all fearful. What do? The first choice they have, intervene or stay out of the way. They chose to intervene. Once they choose to intervene, they are faced with a second choice. Mitigate short-term pain at the expense of a long-term problem, or we will intervene over a longer time frame, but we'll take the pain now in the short term. They chose to not only intervene, but also to mitigate the short-term pain. And so now we are dealing with the longer-term problem, which is very high inflation. They have a third choice along the way, which is when do they stop the loose monetary policy? In November and December, inflation was 7% in America. Mm-hmm. They were still at 0% interest rates, and they were still conducting quantitative easing. So it's like driving towards a wall, and rather than at some point like, oh shoot, I'm gonna hit the wall, and trying to slam on the brakes and not hit it, they were actually still accelerating into the problem. So that was the third. Then they were faced with a fourth decision. When do we actually go ahead and pivot from loose monetary policy? They chose to start to do that earlier this year. Interest rates started to rise. They now are trying to conduct quantitative easing or quantitative tightening. So they have a fifth decision that's coming up. When will they stop? And they continue to say they're not going to stop. They're going to keep going until basically something breaks. We'll see. I don't know if they actually will do that. It's going to be pretty hard to continue to break things and have people lose money going into a midterm election.
Yeah, you can't just break things and then think it's okay.
There's no playing ball in the house. Oh. It's true.
Okay. Powell also mentioned that crypto needs to be regulated.
It is regulated.
No,
No,
more
it is.
regulated.
more regulated is up for debate, but it is regulated.
Well, he said it needs to have the same regulation as other financial products that already exist.
It does.
Okay, you tell Jay Powell that. I'm just a messenger.
No, what they want is they want additional. I would argue that crypto, in some cases, is more regulated than the legacy financial system. In the state of New York, where New York City is the financial capital of the world, if you want to start a fintech company, you have less licenses to get than if you want to start a crypto business.
Interesting.
And so if you have to get more licenses, and of course the bit license, they don't give out a ton of them, then it's actually harder to start a crypto company in New York City, the financial capital of the world, than it is to start a fintech company. And so, again, that's one of many, many different ways you could evaluate it. But in that specific situation, it's more regulated. Now, what do most companies do? They say, well, we're just not going to serve New York. We'll go somewhere else. And so the second thing is the taxation. If I go spend dollars or any other fiat currency, I don't get hit with capital gains tax. If I spend Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency to buy dinner or buy a good or service, I get hit with capital gains tax. It is a more onerous taxation of these instruments. Now, what I think he's talking about, and where I do think that there will be more regulation, is around disclosures, around what's a security, what's not a security, right? So it's part of the industry is already more regulated. Another part of the industry is not more regulated, and that's probably what he's talking about. But the clarity of where do we need more regulation is probably an important part of the conversation.
And they are working on that bipartisan bill, correct? So that will
There are a number of different
add
efforts, yes.
more.
All right, what's going on with Revlon?
Revlon, so
Yeah,
they
makeup company?
voluntarily filed for bankruptcy on June 16th. The stock tumbled to 13.3% to close at $1.95, but it then soared 47.9% in the afternoon trading Wednesday. It has now rocketed 359% since then, since it filed for bankruptcy. So Revlon, it appears, is the new meme stock that all these like retail traders are fueling to go to the moon. My question is, at this point, if you're a company in trouble, do you hope to become a meme stock?
I think that it doesn't matter because it's not like if they already filed for bankruptcy, my guess is that it's not going to change their outlook of are you in bankruptcy or are you not. It may change some of the details or the restructuring kind of mechanisms, but I don't think that it actually changes whether they're going to be in bankruptcy. If this had happened before they filed for bankruptcy and they were able to do some sort of equity offering or something like that, then it could have changed it. But unless there's some detail I don't know in the story.
For example, Hertz also filed for bankruptcy in May 2020.
Yep.
But then after the stock started soaring, it had recovered everything it lost in the post-bankruptcy sell-off in just a couple of weeks, and it eventually exited from bankruptcy on July 1st, 2021. So it is possible to emerge.
Yeah, well, you come out of every company that goes into bankruptcy, the whole point is that you basically get protection. It's like call off the dogs. You go through a restructuring, and then you come out of bankruptcy. The question is just what are the details, and if your stock is exploding upwards, then you're able to raise more capital, and maybe more attractive to certain investors, all that stuff.
That's interesting. Okay.
All right, what's up in the metaverse?
Mark Zuckerberg appeared on Jim Cramer's show on Wednesday and said that the metaverse could be a considerable part of the social networks operators. Oh my God. The social network operators' business in the second half of the decade. So basically, Zuck said that we hope to basically get around 1 billion people in the metaverse doing hundreds of dollars of commerce, buying digital goods, digital content, different things to express themselves, clothing, whatever, becoming more productive, and then that's how he's going to make money.
He changed the name of his company from Facebook to Meta. Did anyone think he didn't think this?
Well, maybe not. How's that going?
Well, I mean, if here's a big question: is Bitcoin considered part of the metaverse?
Probably yes.
Digital currency, virtual currency.
Is that what they would use in the metaverse?
It depends who you ask. If you ask the Bitcoiners, they're already using it in the metaverse. Twitter is a low fidelity version of the metaverse, and you're using Bitcoin there to do tipping. So Bitcoin has already won one use case in the metaverse.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If you had to get a job in the metaverse, what would it be?
In the metaverse?
Yeah.
Is my real identity attached to it or not?
Not.
I'd be a stripper.
Let's hope.
I mean, if your real identity is not attached to it.
Why?
Because that would probably be a very high income.
But you would have to put on the
occupation.
goggles and you would have to dance.
No.
Yes.
No, you could just use AI and just have a character dancing, and then you would get the money.
You know,
That's what I was saying. It's not tied to your real identity.
well, mine would be a billionaire.
Is that a job or is that an end state?
It's an occupation, really. It's a way of life. It's a lifestyle. Thank you, Matt.
Tell me you're not a billionaire. Why not tell me you're not a billionaire? All right.
Okay. Speaking of
People want to know what my stripper
money,
name would be.
no.
What's it? What's charity? Let's switch topics here.
Never mind. Charitable giving in the United States reached a record $485 billion in 2021, though the increase did not keep pace with inflation. Wow, that's a lot. Yeah.
This
So that's a record-setting number.
Well, again, let me pull back the curtain a little bit for a lot of folks. I would have to look at all the details. My guess is a huge contributing factor is if asset prices are at all-time highs, there's a lot of folks who usually would donate assets, not cash. And therefore, let's say that your stock is worth $100. If now it's worth $200, to you it's still, hey, I'm donating one share of stock. And so it ends up being $200 worth rather than $100 worth. And so I think that there's some of that at play. Also, if profits of companies are exploding, if income is going up, if assets are going up and people are selling them to get cash, that means that they have higher tax bills. And so there's also some of the charitable contribution stuff going there. And then last but not least is that there's also a lot of screwed up stuff happening in the world. And via social media and the internet, more and more people have been onboarded to various charitable platforms. And it's become a thing to give money to these causes via the internet. And so it drastically increases the addressable market.
But what do they mean that it hasn't kept up with inflation?
Well, what was it the year before? What was charitable giving? Like, just think of it this way. If charitable giving was $100 in 2020,
Yeah.
and then
I
in
see what
December
they're
of
saying.
2021,
It's more, but
it was
it's
$105.
less. Yeah.
It's up 5%, but inflation's up 7%.
Got it.
Then actually, you could argue that the
So-
charities have negative growth.
So donations
Real
were
growth.
technically 4% higher than 2020, but they were down 0.7% when adjusted for inflation. Wow.
So
Wild. Okay.
it's almost like I kind of sort of think inflation's a big deal.
Yes.
Single most important issue in America right now. All right, what's up with the illegal party?
Okay. Walton County in Florida.
Oh, I saw this story.
There were hundreds of teenagers, 250 of them, who broke in and burglarized a 5-bedroom, 8-bath, $8 million home this weekend. And they went in, they had like a boxing match. Then people were like, I mean, it was wild.
They had a banger.
It looked like it was. The fact that it took
Shit
them,
looks fun.
That-
If I was in high school,
but the fact that it took them so long to for somebody to call the cops for a
Nice house, too.
noise complaint, it's pretty wild.
when I was in high school, I can't say who names, but there was a kid. His parents went out of town, and he told like a couple of people. He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to the movies, and then why don't you guys come over?" And of course, it's high school. It's like the word spreads, like wildfire.
This is like Mean Girls.
And so he went to the movies. He came back. There were so many people at his house that he called the cops on his own house.
Honestly, I would do the same.
I remember being like, "You did what?" He was like, "Bro," it was like,
Yeah, it's
whatever,
out of
a bunch
control.
of people. And I was like, "Man, that's crazy." And I feel like that's how those events happen. Is that like somebody's like, "Oh, my friend is like leaving or whatever." Somebody's like, "Let's go over there," and then word spreads like wildfire. Next thing you know, 200 people show up.
Deputies said that they have spoken to some of the teens, and the teens said that they didn't realize the house was being burglarized.
See, they just thought it was like, "Hey, house party."
Just a banger at an $8 million home.
No, but like in high school, I feel like that's a thing. Is that not burglarizing homes, but like, hey, where's the party this weekend? And sometimes it's like, oh, a friend of a friend's having a party.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so you go to the house, but you actually don't know who owns the house.
Somebody started it.
Well, that person probably is going to be in trouble.
Yes.
But at the same time, sometimes.
Wild.
Yeah, see, look, Patrick Honeycutt said, I literally did that, Pomp, probably talking about calling the cops on his own house.
Or being a stripper in the metaverse. Okay. And
I love the people who are like, that's not an event. It's breaking the law.
It is.
Yeah, it's called burglary.
Wait, I was thinking about something this morning that I wanted to talk about on Lunch Money because I have a platform now. So
Do you want to hear another party story?
our daughter, wow, that's so weird to say, our daughter. Anyway, our daughter,
I'm going to tell you you said that.
she got a new toy phone, which like has a handle and you like, you know, pick it up to talk to people. So I was trying to show her how to use it. But then I was thinking like, you and I, but mainly you, when he does calls, he puts it on speakerphone. So there is no like even, hey.
Because I don't want the 5G getting in my brain.
Oh, okay. Well, it's all speakerphone. So I'm like,
Kidding.
When she grows up, she's gonna be like, I don't know. There's no.
Well, you are showing her a landline.
Right.
With like punching in the number. Like.
I know, but it's just crazy that it doesn't exist anymore. And then I saw this video on Instagram that was like, they were asking adults like us, what do you do? What hand motion do you do when somebody says telephone and they do this? And then they ask like Gen Z and they're like, I don't know, like this. Because there's no, you know, it's like they have this. It's crazy. Anyway, thought it was cool.
I feel like you're an old soul.
I am an old soul.
All right.
All right.
Can I ask one more question real quick?
Why are people saying Ronaldo? Yes.
Because Cristiano Ronaldo is doing a deal with Binance.
Oh.
And he did a whole video.
I did not see
very,
that.
very well-known,
guys.
famous footballer. Can I ask 2 questions real quick before we let you go? First is when you go on the internet, what are the 3 top websites that you go to?
Me?
Yeah, for me, it's definitely Google, email, and Twitter. What are yours?
Substack, email, and Twitter.
Yeah, I was thinking about it the other day. I'm shocked that I understand TikTok is the number 1 site. Google's up there. I'm always shocked that there's not more reports about email being one of the most visited websites.
Because it's for old people, new people, or young people. New people, young people just Snapchat their way to life. Slack.
That's how they message?
Slack.
Okay. And then the second question I have for you is now that we have a public audience, will you watch the new Adam Sandler movie with me on Netflix?
Also, yes, I've been wanting to.
Tell the people what you think about Adam Sandler.
I do not like Adam Sandler at all.
Blasphemous.
As an actor. But I heard.
I literally made Polina. I literally
like
made her
him.
sit
I
down
don't like
before
him.
Sophia showed up. I made
He
Polina
has a
sit
terrible
down,
sense of humor.
and I made her watch Big Daddy, and I said, "This is
fell
what
asleep.
fatherhood looks like to me. This is my education of fatherhood. Is Big Daddy."
But have you seen Adam Sandler in like 50 First Dates and like Along Came Polly? Was he in
Those
that?
aren't Adam Sandler movies. Those are like other movies where he was like, I need a bag because I probably want to like go buy cocaine or something.
Oh, God.
And so he was like, let me just go ahead and do the movies so I can get some cash. Adam Sandler movies, there are very specific movies. Big Daddy and Billy Madison are
Terrible.
probably 2. Waterboy, 3. I mean, like those
No,
3 movies.
Not for me. Not for me.
Because you don't have a sense of humor.
Yeah, that's exactly.
You
what
don't
I'm-
understand good acting.
Uh-huh.
Waterboy?
I'm good.
You're
Goodbye.
trying. You're trying to explain to me that Waterboy is not a good
Happy
movie.
Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore, that's another one. I mean, the guy's a legend. He's a hit machine. I could sit for an entire day
I
and
know.
just watch the greatest hits of Adam Sandler, and if I died
Really?
that night, I'd die happy.
Wow. No.
Billy Madison?
The best.
What are you looking at, Swan?
You say that all the time. You think
Because it's an amazing movie.
Oh, Polina.
Waterboy, Billy Madison,
you know
Big
who's a
Daddy.
great actor?
Who?
You know who?
Who? You don't even know the names of other actors that are half as good as Adam
Reese
Sandler.
Witherspoon.
Oh,
Legally Blonde.
See ya. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Polina.
Bye, friends.
Hey you, did you like this video? Great, we make 5 of them a day and post them here on this channel. Make sure you're subscribed, like the video, and see you next time.